You've probably heard people say, if she's not interested, just move on. Or worse, try harder and prove yourself. But here's the truth nobody really talks about. Women don't miss men because they need them. They miss men who know how to create a strong emotional presence, even when they're not around. This isn't about cheesy pickup lines or fake tricks. It's about understanding how attraction works on a psychological level. If you learn how to position yourself the right way, even a woman who didn't give you much thought at first can find herself thinking about you when you're not there. Sounds wild, right? But it's not. Indifference isn't permanent. It's just a reaction. And if you know how to flip that reaction, you can completely change the way she sees you. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact steps that make a woman miss you. Not through chasing, not through begging, but by flipping the script and becoming unforgettable. By the end, you'll see why it's not about luck, it's about psychology. Let's get started. Number 1. Why chasing kills attraction. Here's a tough pill to swallow. The harder you chase a woman, the faster she runs. And I get it, chasing feels natural. You see someone you like, so you text her a lot, you call more often, you offer to do favors, you try to prove that you're worth her time. On the surface, it feels like effort. But in reality, it almost always backfires. Why? Because it shifts the balance of power in a way that doesn't work in your favor. Instead of her feeling like she's lucky to have your attention, you end up looking like the one fighting to earn hers. And here's the problem. Nobody truly values what they already have unlimited access to. Think about it. If you're always in her inbox, liking every post, replying instantly to every message, and constantly trying to make her laugh or impress her, where's the space for her to wonder about you? There is none. She doesn't get the opportunity to miss you because you've already given her a non-stop supply of your presence. And people never crave what's always there. Imagine someone giving you free pizza every single day. At first, you might love it. But after a while, it becomes ordinary, expected. You don't crave it anymore because it's just there. But the moment that pizza disappears, suddenly, you start wanting it again. That's how attraction works. Scarcity creates value. Abundance makes it boring. And here's another layer. Chasing often reveals insecurity. It signals that you don't see yourself as valuable enough to stand still and let her come to you. You're telling her, without words, you're above me, and I have to earn you. That insecurity is a major turnoff, because women are naturally drawn to men who are secure in themselves, men who have options, and men who know they bring value to the table without begging for attention. So here's the truth. Women don't miss the guy who chases. They miss the man who knows how to step back, create space, and let curiosity grow in her mind. If you want her to feel your absence, stop chasing. Sometimes, the most powerful move is to do nothing at all. Number 2. Silence is louder than words. A lot of men grow up believing that the way to win a woman over is through constant communication. They think if they keep reminding her they exist, eventually she'll warm up. That's why so many guys fall into the habit of sending good morning texts every single day, checking in during lunch, and making sure to say good night before bed. On the surface, it looks like effort. It looks like consistency. But here's the catch. When you're too consistent in this way, you stop being exciting. You become predictable, and predictability kills curiosity. Psychology tells us that people crave what isn't always available. When your words are there on demand, they lose their weight. It's like background noise, always present, but easy to tune out. Silence, on the other hand, carries weight. Silence is powerful because it makes people pay attention. When you stop talking for a little while, she starts asking questions. Why hasn't he texted me? What's he doing? Who's he with? Those questions are the spark of missing you. That curiosity is what begins to shift her focus back onto you. Think of your attention like money. If you hand out dollar bills to everyone you meet, nobody values it. It becomes cheap. But if you're selective, if your attention isn't something she can predict or control, suddenly it becomes rare, and people chase what's rare. That's why silence can sometimes draw a woman closer than 1,000 texts ever could. Now, let's make this clear. Silence doesn't mean immaturity. It doesn't mean ghosting or playing cold games. It means balance. A confident man doesn't need to constantly announce himself. He knows his value, and he shows that his world doesn't revolve around one person's replies. That's attractive. That's magnetic. So the next time you feel the urge to double text, pause. Resist it. Let your silence speak for you. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say to a woman is nothing at all. Number 3, stop being too available. One of the biggest traps men fall into is believing that being constantly available will somehow win a woman over. You know how it goes. She texts. You drop everything to reply in seconds. She hints at hanging out, and suddenly you're canceling plans with friends or skipping something important just to make sure you're free. At first, it feels like effort. You think you're showing her you care, proving you're dependable. But here's the twist. Instead of making you look attractive, it makes you look predictable. And predictability is the enemy of excitement. The reality is, when something is always available, it loses value. That's not just dating. That's human nature. Think back to when you were chasing something you really wanted. Maybe it was your first car, a dream job, or even that pair of sneakers that always sold out. The fact that it wasn't easy to get made you want it even more. The challenge was part of the thrill. But on the flip side, think about something that was handed to you without any effort. Did it feel as special? Probably not. Women experience attraction the same way. They don't fantasize about a man who lives on standby, waiting for her next text or call. They're drawn to the man who has a life of his own, who's busy chasing his passions, building his goals, and spending time with people who matter. The guy who occasionally says, "Sorry, I can't tonight. I've already got plans," instantly feels different. He's not rude, he's not distant, but he's not bending his entire world around her either. That independence is magnetic because it signals value. It says, "I'm not desperate for your attention, I'm selective with mine." And here's the beauty of it. When you stop being constantly available, she starts to notice your absence. She starts to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not always around. That wondering builds curiosity, and curiosity leads to attraction. So stop thinking availability equals love. It doesn't. All it does is make you forgettable. If you want her to miss you, let her feel that gap. Make her earn your attention instead of handing it out for free. Number 4, mystery beats over-explaining. We've all heard the saying, honesty is the best policy. And sure, that's true in life and in relationships. But here's the catch. When it comes to attraction, especially in the early stages, too much honesty delivered too soon doesn't create closeness. It kills the spark. A lot of guys make the mistake of oversharing, thinking that if they tell a woman everything about themselves, their thoughts, their feelings, their schedule, their life story, she'll feel more connected. But the truth is, over-explaining yourself doesn't make you more attractive. It makes you predictable. And predictability is the enemy of desire. What really keeps a woman hooked isn't endless information, it's mystery. Attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And one of the strongest emotions you can create is curiosity. Curiosity is what makes her check her phone to see if you texted. It's what makes her wonder what you're doing on a Saturday night, or who you're spending your time with. When she doesn't have all the answers, her mind starts filling in the blanks. And in most cases, she fills them in with interest, not indifference. That little bit of wondering, that small dose of suspense, is what makes her miss you when you're not around. Think about it like your favorite movie. If the ending was spoiled in the first 5 minutes, you'd lose all motivation to sit through the rest. The suspense, the not knowing, is what keeps you hooked until the credits roll. Women feel the same way about men. If you show all your cards right away, if she already knows what you're thinking, where you're going, and how you feel, there's nothing left for her to figure out. And if there's nothing to figure out, there's no reason for her to chase. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you to lie or to hide who you really are. Honesty still matters. But pacing matters too. You don't have to dump your entire life story on the first date. Hold a little back. Let her earn the details over time. That's how you keep her leaning in, wanting to know more, and missing you when you're not around. And before I move on, subscribe to Stoic 95 and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next video. Number 5. Never compete for her attention. This is one of the biggest traps men fall into, and it happens without them even realizing it. You see another guy liking her photo, leaving comments, or maybe you hear that she's talking to someone else, and instantly you feel that urge to prove you're better. So what do? You try harder. You send more texts, you talk louder when she's around, you flex harder on social media, you do whatever you can to stand out. But here's the problem. By doing that, you've already lost. See, real men don't compete for a woman's attention. They don't play in that arena because they understand one simple truth. Attention that you have to fight for is never worth having. A man who truly knows his value doesn't care who else is in her inbox or who else is trying to impress her. He doesn't care because he already knows. He's the prize. If she doesn't see that, if she can't recognize his worth on her own, then that's her loss. The second you start competing, you're putting her on a pedestal. You're treating her attention like some trophy you have to win, and that mindset screams desperation. And here's the thing about women. They can smell desperation a mile away. It's not attractive, it's not respected, and it will always push them away. Women don't want a man who fights to be chosen. They want a man who lives in such a way that his value is obvious without him needing to prove it. So what happens when you stop competing? Suddenly, you stand out. You're not one of the dozens of guys chasing, liking, commenting, or begging for scraps of attention. You're different. You're the one who knows he doesn't need to try that hard. And that calm self-assurance, that quiet confidence, is exactly what makes her notice you. It's not about being louder than the other men. It's about being the one man who doesn't need to. And that's what makes you unforgettable. Number 6. Confidence is more addictive than love. Confidence is more addictive than love. And for a lot of men, that's hard to swallow. We're told from a young age that if we just show enough love, if we give her our heart, she'll see how much we care and she'll choose us. But the truth is, women don't fall for love first. They fall for confidence. You can write her the sweetest poems, you can buy her flowers, you can spend hours texting her good morning and good night. But if you don't have confidence behind all of that, it doesn't land the way you think it will. Without confidence, all that love looks like neediness. And neediness, to her, feels like pressure. Love without confidence comes across as weakness. It shows that you're pouring everything into her because you don't feel solid on your own. And weakness isn't attractive, it never has been. What pulls women in, what makes them lean closer, is confidence. But let's clear this up. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's not about being the loudest guy in the room or bragging about your achievements. Real confidence is quiet. It's the way you stand tall, the way you make eye contact, the way you speak with calm certainty. It's living your life without constantly looking over your shoulder for someone else's approval. Think about it. How many times have you seen a woman pick a guy who wasn't the best looking, who wasn't even the nicest, but he carried himself with that unshakable self-belief? She couldn't stop thinking about him. That wasn't luck. That was psychology. Confidence is magnetic. It leaves an imprint. Even if she tells herself she's not interested, your confidence keeps echoing in her mind. It lingers long after you've left. That's why love on its own isn't enough. Love without confidence turns into dependency, and dependency pushes women away. But when love is built on confidence, it becomes powerful. So stop thinking effort and affection alone will make her miss you. What she craves, what she remembers, what she can't get out of her head, is a man who believes in himself. That's what makes you unforgettable. Number 7. Make her think she could lose you. Here's the final key. Nothing makes a woman miss you faster than the thought of losing you. Humans don't value what's guaranteed. They value what they might lose. If she knows you'll always be there no matter what, she won't appreciate it. But the moment she senses you could move on, everything changes. Suddenly, She questions herself. What if he's done with me? What if another girl has his attention? What if I lost my chance? That fear is powerful. It flips indifference into desire. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about manipulation. It's about self-respect. You're not pretending to pull away. You're showing that your life doesn't revolve around her. If she doesn't value you, someone else will. That realization is what makes her miss you the most. So stop making yourself a guarantee. Let her feel what life is like without you. That's when missing kicks in. Here's the bottom line. Women don't miss the guy who chases, begs, and overshares. They miss the man who respects himself enough to create space. The man who's confident, independent, and not afraid to walk away. You can be the nicest guy in the world, but if you don't know how to create that emotional gap, she won't value you. But the man who knows his worth? That's the man she ends up chasing. So tell me, have you ever been in a situation where you chased too much, or where silence actually pulled her back? Drop your story in the comments. I'll be reading them, and I'd love to connect and give you feedback. And before you go, subscribe to Stoic 95 and hit the bell icon so you're the first to know when I drop the next video. In that one, I'll show you why giving your full loyalty too soon might actually push her away. I'll see you there.